As a physical therapist, I'm always talking to my clients about the importance of hip strength, especially if they're seniors. But what's the big deal about hip strength? Why is it such a big deal? Having improved hip strength improves your balance and stability, making it less likely that you'll fall. And if you do fall, you're able to catch yourself a little bit better. Oftentimes, my senior clients might have osteoarthritis in their knees and hips. Having greater hip strength has been shown to reduce pain in both your knees and your hips. And lastly, having greater hip strength just improves your overall quality of life. Imagine getting up and down from a chair, getting up and down from the floor, being able to squat down, kneel down, go up and down stairs, walk up a hill. All of those are accomplished with greater hip strength. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 simple exercises, but I'm going to start from the easiest and work my way up to the hardest, as well as give you ideas in which you can make each one of those exercises a little bit harder as well too. Because the important thing is that everyone's coming in at a different level of hip strength. And so after the end of this video, I'll give you one extra hip strengthening exercise, which is very functional, which we probably all do every day in our life. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Ed DeBoo, physical therapist from Integrated Physical Therapy in Bellingham, Washington. All right, we're just going to get right into it. I'm going to start off with 5 different exercises to strengthen your hip. We're going to go from the easiest to the hardest. Let's do this. Probably the easiest exercise to do to strengthen up your hip is called clamshells. So you can either rest your head on your hand here or just grab yourself a pillow. And the idea here is you're going to keep your feet together and then you're going to slowly lift up this top leg like a clamshell. One thing that's helpful is to palpate the muscle we're trying to work. So we're basically trying to work the muscle of our hip called the gluteus medius. And so as you lift your leg up, you should feel that muscle activating. And when you get up to the top, I want you to give it a squeeze and then back down again nice and slow. As you want to get a little bit harder, you can lift your leg up and do the same kind of motion. All these exercises I'd recommend doing for 3 sets, anywhere from 12 to 15 repetitions with about a 30 to 60 second break in between. Now, if you notice the one hip is a little bit weaker than the other, make sure you give the weaker side maybe a little extra work. It could be like a 4th set on the weaker side. To make this exercise a little bit harder, what you can do is get some TheraBand and slip that around your legs. Right about the level of your knees. Again, assume the same position, your feet are together, and we're just going to lift up. And it's amazing what just a little bit of resistance will do in terms of increasing the intensity. Make sure it's tied really well. I'll put a link below this video where you can get different kinds of resistance bands. I'm really feeling my glutes working in this exercise. So that's the first one. It's called clamshells. The second exercise you can do is called a sideline leg lift. So what you'll do is we're going to be working this top leg, the right leg. So slightly bend your left leg, and then your right leg is going to be straight. You can have a slight bend in it if you want to, whatever's more comfortable. This hand here is just for a little bit of balance. Make sure your foot is parallel to the floor. I don't want it pointed up. Make sure it's parallel to the floor, and then you're going to touch the floor and you're going to bring it up. Now, if I go up too high, I'm getting a little bit more lumbar spine or low back movement than I want, and so I'm going to keep it isolated just to the hip. And once again, you can palpate the muscle back here just so you know which muscle you're working. Squeeze the buns when you get up to the top and back down again. Sideline leg lifts. To make this a little bit harder, what you can do is put an ankle weight around your ankle right here to make it a little bit harder. I would start with like maybe 1 or 2 pounds. And remember, you want to have enough intensity so that you can get 3 sets of anywhere from 12 to 15 reps on each leg. Let's move on. Now we're going to progress to standing up exercises. I like standing up exercises because we engage more muscles and it's a bit more functional. So once you get comfortable doing the clamshells and the side leg lifts, we can progress to standing up. Use the wall for a little bit of balance if you need to. You're going to stand up nice and tall. Transfer all your weight onto the right leg. Imagine your right leg is a strong pillar. Engage your core, scapula in the back pocket, hands on your hip if you need to. This one for a little bit of balance, and then to bring your leg out and pause and back down again. The reason why I like this one is where I'm working the left hip to hold my leg out, but also the right hip is working hard because my pelvis is going to want to collapse out this way. So it's a nice exercise. It's simple, but it's a nice exercise. I'm working on the right side to keep myself stable, and then the left side, pausing and then back down again. Once again, I'm not going out too far. I'm not getting any shifting. It's a pretty small range of motion, but you really feel it in both hips. As you start to get stronger, let's make this into a little bit of a balance exercise. Let go of the wall. So put your hands on your hips, come out and pause, and back down again. Pause and back down again. And then of course you do the same thing on the other side. A little bit of wall support for balance initially. Once you get stronger, come out and back down again. Come out and back down again. To make this harder, you could just put an ankle weight, probably start with 1 or 2 pounds, strap it right around the ankle. It'll make it quite a bit harder. The next exercise you may have seen, and that is just a bridge exercise, where you come up, you squeeze your buns tight, and back down again. Now a lot of times before you start, what I'll have you do is try to squeeze your shoulder blades back and down, put your scapula in the back pocket, engage your core, and lift your buns up. Pause and back down. For a lot of people, the double leg bridge is kind of easy. So what you can do is you can go ahead and stagger your legs. So in this example, I'm going to take my left leg and I'm going to slide it down, and I'm going to bring my right leg closer up to my buns. Now what's going to happen is when I bridge, the leg that's closer back, in this situation, my right one, I'm going to feel that glute working a little bit more. So what you'll do once again is try to find the right place where you feel some fatigue in the muscle, no pain, but fatigue in the muscle after about 12 to 15 reps. After the staggered bridge gets easier, you'll do a single leg bridge and back down. Pause at the top and back down again. If you're finding the video helpful, take a moment to subscribe and ding, turn on your notification so you never miss another one of my videos. One of the harder hip exercises to do is the hip thrust. So what you'll do is you'll use your couch like this, and then the idea is that it's still basically a bridge, but we have a greater range of motion. So what I'm going to have you do is come down a little bit so that your shoulder blades are well rested on the couch. And then we're going to just drop down, and then we're going to come up into a bridge. Pause and back down again for me. Some people like to support their head a little bit, which is fine, just like this, and then back down. So it's very similar to the bridge, but we're getting a greater range of motion. Now, how do I make this harder? If this is easier, I'm going to go to a single leg hip thrust. This leg is out straight. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come up and pause, and back down again. Make sure your hips are level. They're going to want to drop. Make sure they're nice and level. Your head is supported. You're going to come up, and then back down again. Single leg hip thrust. I'm telling you, it's going to work it. I'm feeling it already. And then back down again. Once again, your goal is 3 sets of anywhere from 12 to 15 reps until you can really kind of feel it in that glute. And now for the bonus exercise. One of my favorite exercises, because it's so functional, is the deadlift. Imagine trying to do laundry or pick up groceries or anything off the floor without doing a deadlift. So it's really important to know how to do the deadlift properly. A laundry basket's a great way to learn how to do the deadlift. Get one that's stable, it has handles. You're going to come up next to it here, and then you're going to drive your hips back. So it's important to learn how to do that so that your back stays straight, as opposed to this, where my back is rounded. We really do not want to lift like this. We really want to try to avoid that rounded back, and the way we avoid the rounded back is by driving your hips back. So you're going to engage your core, scapula back and down, or your shoulder blades in your back pocket. I want you to drive your hips back, grab on here, and then instead of lifting with your arms, I want you to visualize that you're pushing the floor away. Push the floor away. Now, as that starts to get easier, first practice the motion. As that starts to get easier, you can put a little bit of weight in there. You could put a box that you have somewhere in the garage. You can put a gallon of water, whatever you have, just to add a little bit of weight through there. Same concept here, scapula in the back pocket. I'm engaging the core, driving my hips back. I'm holding on here with a nice solid grip, and I'm pushing the floor away and back up again. And what you want to try to do with this is same thing, so that you can get 3 sets of 12 to 15. But what if you have trouble bending that far over because of maybe hip pain or knee pain? Then what you can do is you can still practice the deadlift, but elevate the basket. So in this situation here, instead of putting the box in the basket, I'm going to do this. So now I don't have to go down as far to get this. Same rules apply. Scapula in the back pocket, engage my core, drive my hips back. But now I'm just doing it, I'm lifting from here until this gets easier. Once that starts to get easier, as my legs get stronger, then I start lifting it from the floor and then eventually adding weight. So in this video, I talked about the importance of hip strengthening, but it's important to understand that we're talking about a total body strengthening program, even though this one was mainly about hips. I have all sorts of strengthening exercises at the channel, so make sure you can check that out. But definitely, whatever exercises you're doing, make sure that you add hip strengthening. And I'd recommend doing this routine, whichever one that you pick, 3 times in a week. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Take care, and I will see you at the next video.